Nice, bright and sunny. Good morning. It's 11:52. I just checked. Yeah. Uh, Listen, good to be here. I don't have a lot to say. I'm just going to open it up. Fired up to play another game, go to Chicago. So with that, I'll open it up.
What's reasonable to expect from Suggs?
Yeah.
Not just Sunday, but beyond as well.
Yeah, good question, Adam. We're trying to figure that out too. But I will tell you this. I think you're all aware that I had the pleasure of working with in Baltimore for 2 years, and I can tell you this: he's as passionate about football as anybody I've been around. He's a consummate pro. I respect all of that about him. I got a great deal of respect for him. He's a great one. This is a different environment. It's all new and different to him. He got in here late the other night, and then he came in here yesterday. I don't know how much sleep he had, not very much. But the most impressive thing, and I think all our players got the eyeballs on it too, he come in the meeting, he had a spiral notebook, and he was taking notes. I mean, that's Terrell Suggs. I mean, he's a pro. He wants to do well. He knows that knowing the defense is part of it. Going back to your question, what's to be expected? I think it's going to be kind of a gradual thing, but I think we'll just basically go off of how he feels, both physically and mentally.
You talk about his passion. How do you see that? What leads you to say that?
I tell you what, it was just evident when the first year I was there, I just kind of floated. I was basically just close to John Harbaugh, and we bounced things off of each other. So I got to sit in a lot of different meetings, and I found myself gravitating to the outside linebacker meeting room where Terrell Suggs was, because I found those meetings, Ted Bonacchino was the coach at the time, to be very engaging and, be perfectly honest, very informative for me. And part of it was because of his interaction with talking football and how much he wanted to know about what we were doing, what the other team was doing, not just what he was doing. I mean, he wanted to know it all, and he was a sponge and absorbed it. And when he went out on the practice field, and it might be different here because this is all new. I mean, when I got there to Baltimore, he had been there 12, 13 years, so he knew the system down pat and all the surroundings and all the Pro Bowls and the whole thing. So, but at practice, it was just a joy to watch him practice. He loved to practice, had fun doing it. Might take a little while for that to show up here, but I think all of that can be really, really helpful for us.
In your conversations leading up to Terrell coming here, how much convincing did have to take place?
Well, I didn't really get involved with that. I left that to Andy and Brett. I mean, we were just hopeful that when it was a possibility that it would happen, and then I really didn't have any conversation with him until after, or somewhere in the. But it was brief. There was a lot going on at the time.
You have a championship, obviously, as a new coordinator. What does it mean for a player to come in and say, okay, I've accomplished the championship? What can that bring to you?
Yeah, what you're saying is when they won it in Baltimore in 2012. Yeah, more than anything, I think what comes with that is as we get going here, we know where we're headed at least for the next 3 weeks, right? My guess is that our players will lean on him from experience in how to handle it, which is tremendous. It's one thing coming from coaches to say, hey, here's what you got to do when you get to this part of the season and how much faster the game gets, et cetera, et cetera. But it's a whole different story when a player conveys that to you, and I think he'll be able to do that. He played in a lot of playoff games, and certainly the championship you're talking about.
Suggs is playing about 50 snaps a game in Arizona. It's pretty heavy workload, considering your rotation.
Yeah.
Would you envision maybe a little bit less, and would he benefit from maybe fewer snaps?
Well, I mean, it'll be a little less, at least initially, and then we'll just see how it trends. Sometimes I'm always careful now in all the years in this business with talking. Then all of a sudden you got an injury here, then everything changes. So we'll see how it progresses, and hopefully we can build it enough where we can get him in for as many plays as we need him.
Have you gone back in recent days to watch any of his videos?
Just a little bit of the last game that he played in, but I didn't go too deep into it. I know him. I know what he's all about. And I just think he's been a great addition.
Physically, does he look like the same guy?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch a lot of plays, but in the plays that I saw, I didn't see a big drop off, in my opinion. I mean, he still does. The guy is strong, physical, sets the edge of the defense. All that's still there.
Tyron is playing, probably as good as any defensive player in the league right now. Behind the scenes, what are some of the things you're noticing that maybe is leading to what we get to actually see on Sunday?
Yeah. Now, look, I've said this before. I mean, I just think he's the glue. He's the leader. He's the guy that can get in the huddle in practice and say, hey, we need to step it up. You need guys like that, and that stuff I value as a coordinator. It makes my job a lot easier, and I think the rest of the guys certainly see that. They're talking about a really good player that operates at a high level. I'm talking about in preparation, meetings. He's the first one out there all the time when we go to walkthrough, go to practice, and I think that goes a long way with the other guys.
Coach, how much easier does it get easier, I guess would be a better way to ask the question, the fact that Matt Nagy comes from Andy Reid, you practice against Andy, there's got to be some similarities, right?
I guess. I don't, the great thing about both those coordinators or systems that you're talking about is sometimes when you prepare for them, you don't get what you're preparing for or what you're trying to copy, because they're really good at attacking what you do or don't do. So for us, it's going to be as much finding out in that first quarter early on, what Matt's deciding to do, how he's going to attack. And so that'll be the game within the game. But, just like I'm sure other teams, when they defend our guys, it's a complete headache. And their offense is the same way because they do a lot of different things. And that 29's a problem. They got a real good wide out in 12, and I think the quarterback's playing really good, so that helps them.
Coach, Andy Reid is 5-4 against former assistants the first time he faces them. And
I know one of those 5 wins was against me, so I'm not.
Exactly. In 2011.
Yeah, we had him though. You know that. And then Steven Jackson got hurt, and Danny Amendola got hurt. I won't go there. I'll talk to Andy about that later.
I guess it's kind of like that. What do you recall from that game leading up to it in preparation-wise?
Yeah, it was an opening game, but it was the first game of the season. We were in St. Louis. I think I'm almost certain Michael Vick was the quarterback. So we were dealing with, a scrambling quarterback, an athletic quarterback. I do remember that we jumped out front. I can't remember who got the ball first, but I think we scored on the first play. And this is what I remember. And on that play, Steven Jackson pulled his quad. And we didn't have him for the rest of the game. But it was a pretty tight game, and then I think they beat us at the end, hit a long play. It was great to bat. It's like, it's like playing basketball in the backyard with your brother, right? And try to beat them harder than you do sometimes people you don't know. But it was great competing, and I remember the middle of the field after the game, because how I feel about Andy. I was disappointed that we lost, but great to compete against somebody you respect.
And it goes along with the familiarity, because you touched on that some things will be different.
Yeah.
When Matt prepares for Andy and Andy prepares for
I think so, yeah.
What were your nerves going into that? And how much
Way back then in that game?
Yeah.
I think the nervousness just came from it was the opening game. It was 2011, right? We had come off a pretty good season in 2010, so there was some expectations there. I really thought we had a pretty good chance to win the football game. It was at our place. It was at home, but we didn't. So we had to move on to the next game.
You think Matt's going through some of those kind of nerves too?
I see where you're going. I don't know that. You'd have to ask Matt. I really don't. Everybody treats it a little bit differently. Yeah.
Back to Suggs for a second. You talked about how good he still is at setting the edge. So you see him at this point as being more than a situational pass rusher?
I think so, yeah. Yeah. I think we'll use him wherever we can. Initially here it's going to be, grasping hold of the terminology more than anything. We're not that far off from things he's been doing. But yeah, it's not going to be, hey, you're only going in on third down. I think where he can help us, he'll help us. We'll put him in there. No problem.
Because of your knowledge as a D-backs coach previously, I know you like to mix and match and sort of put guys in unique situations. One thing I noticed in Sunday's game was you had Kendall Fuller playing just as much safety as slot corner. Just what was your idea behind that, and how much of that new wrinkle did you sort of get the success that you wanted out of, and is there something more that can be developed?
Well, some of it goes back to personnel and how we've been wired the last few weeks and who's getting the reps at certain spots. We're probably going to change that a lot week to week. Some of it's by call. And quite honestly, some of it they handle out on the field. I just tell them to put a line to execute. And if sometimes he's deep, that works out. And sometimes he's up, that's good. Now, sometimes I direct it, obviously. But what's nice is having guys that have the flexibility to do different spots. And hopefully we'll get more of that. Be good. Okay, thanks.